What is up, Math 8? Today we're going to talk about 1.1 roundings. This should be a general skill we need to know for the rest of our school year. So what we're going to be able to do today is round up to a given place value. Maybe we'll start by looking at just this number because we're going to talk about different numbers. So I'm going to type in or write this number down, 12,345.678. So we're actually going to I'm going to tell you what each of these are. The first number we have is the 10,000s. This will be the fifth number to the left of the decimal. So if we're looking at this number right up here, we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. That is the number 1. Okay, so that's just one way that we can easily identify that. The thousands place is the fourth number left of the decimal. So that number in our example is the number 2. Okay. The hundreds is the third number left of the decimal. That is going to be the number 3 in our example. The tens is going to be the second number left of the decimal. And you're kind of seeing a pattern here that is shown, not with the number 2, but with the number 4. And then the ones is the first number to the left of the decimal. In this example, that is the number 5. Right now, you want to make sure you have this filled in your notes. So let's take time now to pause, make sure you have everything written down. This is my symbol for pausing. Once you're done, click play and we'll go on to the next part. So this next part we're going to talk about with decimal rounding. This is still a continuation of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.678. So we're going to talk about how to properly say this in mathematical terms. The 10th spot, that's going to be the first number now to the right of the decimal. So that number in this example is the number 6. The hundredths is the second number to the right of the decimal. And in this example, that number is 7. And then we'll get to the thousandths today. The thousandths is that third number, again, to the right of the decimal. And in this case, it is the number 8. Again, let's pause our video here. Make sure you have everything copied and written down. When you're done and ready to continue, let's click play. So here are some first 4 examples. We're going to go all the way up to 8. So we have 4 here and then 4 on the next slide. But what we're going to do is we're going to round to each place indicated. This first one says we want to round to the 10,000s place. Now, just a rule with rounding. 0 to 4 is you're just going to be staying the same. So stay, and your teacher might have added a little rhyme. But then 5 through 9, you're going to go up. Okay. So if we're looking at this, first of all, we want to find the 10,000 spot. The 10,000 spot is the fifth number to the left of the decimal. So technically, here's our decimal: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 2 is the 10,000s. Next, notice how next to the 2, I have that number 5. So 5 through 9 says to round up. So I'm going to round that 2 up to a 3. And then everything behind it is going to get a 0. So to the 10,000 spot, this would be 430,000. Number 2, and at any time, if you want to pause the video here, play it, or pause it, try it, and then click play so you can check it, please feel free to do so. Number 2 says I'm going to round to the nearest thousandth. So let's count together. To the right of the decimal, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So this is the 4 that we're focusing on. Notice right next to the 4 is the number 8. We're always going to look to the right to figure out how we should round. Since that number is 8, 5 through 9 says to round up, so that 4 becomes a 5, and then everything else stays the same. So 25.835. And then drop off everything at the end. Technically, you could have written this 25.835 with zeros at the end, but this is your ideal way to write it. Next up, we have question 3. We're going to round to the ones place. The ones place is that first number to the left of the decimal, so here's our 6. Okay. Now, notice we always want to look to the right. Who's our neighbor at the right? It's a 7. So this 6 actually gets to round up. So my answer for rounding to the ones place will be 68,077. Okay. Again, if you wanted to write 68,077 and 0 tenths, you could, but this is the ideal way to show your answer. And then the last one on this page, the thousands plot. The thousand spot is that fourth number to the left of the decimal. tens, hundreds, or sorry, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Here's my thousands. So that 3 is what I'm going to focus on. Should I change the 3 according to its neighbor? Yes, because that 8 is big enough. It's that 5 through 8 range. So that 3 is going to change to a 4, and then everything behind it will turn into a 0. Okay, again, you can write it like this, 2,114,000, or simply 2,114,000 with no decimal point at the end. Okay, we're going to keep going now and talk about these examples. Some of these have some more decimals in it, but just a little bit more practice for you. Again, maybe this section for sure, if you haven't done it so far, pause this video now, try 5 through 8, and when you're done, come back to me and click play to see what your answers were. So number 5, we're looking at the hundreds place value. That's tenths and hundreds. Hundreds is here, so 0. Should I round the 0 up? Yes, because that 8 is above that 5. So this answer should be 1.1, and then that 0 is going to be a 1. So 1.11, rounding up. Number 6, looking at that tenth spot. This one's kind of tricky, okay? The tenth spot is at the number 9. Cool. The neighbor is an 8, so I do have to round up. But if it's a 9, that 9 still has to go to 10 somewhere. So this 9 becomes a 10, but next to it I have to add 1 to that. So since that was a 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, and I'm left with 1.00 or just 1.0. Okay. 7, the hundreds place value. 10, 1, 10, hundreds. My 9 is 100, but notice the neighbor is only a 4. Since this 4 is below that 5 mark, it's not going to be able to round up. We are going to stay the same. So I'm going to keep it as 8, comma, 9 staying the same, and then everything else a 0, 8,900 or 8,900. Our last one, we're rounding to the tens for number 8. So our ones place value, tens place value is this 3. Again, notice the neighbor to the right is only a 2. Can't round it up, has to stay the same. So about 159, comma 4, 3, and then a 0 to finish it off. Okay, how did we do? That's going to conclude your notes for today. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.